You've watched the video on Boyle's Law and the gas rules, and we're going to go over that a little bit. The gas rules are also known as the kinetic molecular theory of gases. The first rule in this kinetic molecular theory is that most of the volume is empty space. So the gas particles take up a very, very small volume. They're very, very little, and they take up a very small volume, and so most of this volume is empty. The second rule in the kinetic molecular theory is that the particles are in random motion and there are a lot of particles. The third rule is that the collisions between gas particles and their container are completely elastic. That means that no energy is lost or gained when they hit each other or they hit their container. Last rule is that gas particles do not attract one another and they do not repel one another. In other words, there are no forces between them. And that wraps up the kinetic molecular theory of gases, or the kinetic molecular theory rules. Boyle's law is simply P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. And temperature is constant. P represents pressure, and V represents volume. 1 represents initial, or the beginning pressure or volume, and 2 represents final, I can't spell, final pressure or volume. So P1 represents initial pressure, V1 represents initial volume, P2 is final pressure, and V2 is final volume. Okay, so now we're going to work a problem with Boyle's law. Our problem is that oxygen gas has an initial pressure of 2 atmospheres and an initial volume of 8 liters. If that final pressure of oxygen changes to 1 atmosphere, what is the final volume of oxygen? Boyle's law, which we're going to use, is P1 V1, that's a 1, not an I, is equal to P2 V2. Now it states here that our initial pressure is 2 atmospheres, so P1 is going to be 2 atmospheres. And we're going to multiply that by our initial volume, which is 8 liters. So multiplied by 8 liters. That is going to equal our final pressure, which happens to be 1 atmosphere. And we're going to multiply that by V2, which is what we're looking for, our final volume. Okay, so we have 2 atmospheres times 8 liters is equal to 1 atmosphere times final volume. We're going to divide each side by 1 atmosphere. When we do that, our atmosphere units cancel, and we end up with 2 times 8, which is 16, and our units are liters, is equal to our final volume. There you have it. Our final volume is 18 liters. You have now finished this video. I would like for you to go to Skyward, open up the questions, and there are 8 of them, and answer them for a grade. And see you tomorrow.